a lot of men in particular don't open up about that stuff because of the perception that like, you're a man, you've got to be tough, you've got to be strong, you deal with that shit on your own terms, that's not anyone else's problem. But by sharing that, it kind of shines a light on that other people can then be opened and help other people, and then it creates things like this moment and to show other people. Is that something you had to work on, or is that something that you felt was easy just to put out there?
Every hardship is going to be, again, irrelevant to what is hard. What does that mean? Is that very painful to you to see, to suffer, to experience it? You know, like somehow figured it out to change the path to more of a better place, but that doesn't mean you're not suffering. You're just using the suffering a little bit more efficiently. You know, you're using it as a fuel, as a way of, you know, I guess strengthening your character. So it was kind of like, it felt like right thing to do to share it. I didn't give a fuck if people gonna like judge me or be like, oh yeah, you haven't gone through this or that. It's like, yeah, I haven't. But I have gone through this, which was, you know, it was not easy, and it kind of, I wouldn't say fucked me up, but it changed my psychology, right? So, and I was like, might as well just share it, and someone might listen to it and be like, might not say anything, but that I believe that there's certain things that might change the way they think about themselves. It might create more hope and faith in their way of dealing their suffering, and they might be like, one day it's like, fuck it, I just want to change, you know. So it was, I think, just a right thing to do.
You can be the catalyst to someone else's change.
I'm originally from Latvia.
So yeah. You've gone Latvia, and then you said you were in England for a bit, and now Bali. Yeah,
I lived all my childhood in Latvia, so from till 16, and then 16 to 24, 25, 26 to England, and then 26 to 29, 26 and a half to 29 to Bali, in Bali. So I've had like quite different cultural differences moving from, I mean, childhood, I can't really remember much, which is kind of strange. I was speaking to my friend before, it's like when you don't visit or revisit the places you spend time when you was younger, you kind of forget, because there's no like reminders. It's like, oh yeah, I remember that corner store where me and my, you know, friend was trying to get alcohol or something. So you kind of, things are getting pushed behind your subconscious mind. But yeah, so.
What is your earliest memory?
Earliest memory. My earliest memory, I would say maybe I was like 4, or maybe, yeah, 4 or 3, 4, and I got bitten by a dog, so twice. So once here, and once somewhere on my face, on one of the cheeks. And the reason that I got bitten is I was hiding behind this little curtain thing. Don't ask me why had this idea. And I just tried to, I looked, oh, there's a bowl of food. And I just tried to take the food. And whilst the dog was next to me, he just like,
just got you.
Just got my face, mate.
It's a pretty traumatic first memory.
I know.
Welcome to the world.
Yeah, it's like, shit, I gotta watch out. I think that, because there's few things I can remember, but I think that would be the earliest. Yeah, it was, I don't think I have any nice early memories, to be honest.
Do you find that though, that we hold on to pain a lot harder than we hold on to like happiness and success and these things that actually benefit us? It's like when things are going wrong or things are going bad, you hold on to those because you normally get more out of it.
Yeah, and I think it depends how you see the pain also. It's a perception that what will make a difference between each individual's meaning of the pain. And yeah, you can even clench on it and hold it for as long as you want it, if it serves you well. Or you can hold on to it from a perception that it actually holds you back. I wouldn't say I go always back in my past, but I do kind of like visit my past memories or my past moments, not necessarily the pleasant ones, but the ones that made me make a difference in my life. And then I go back and look at it. It's like I'm looking down this kind of like this stairrail, I don't know how you say it. It's like this building from top of it, and I'm looking down, I'm like, fuck, I was there.
You come a long way.
And so I'm like, yeah, I've got, and I'm looking up, I'm like, holy shit, it's like, it's still so much to cover.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do look, I think pain is, for men, in men's life, it's needed process. Again, it's a perception, right? So everyone has a different way of seeing things.
When you go through pain, do you feel like you shut off, or do you feel like you're more open? Because I guess the bit that made me connect with you, that got us to here, and this point here, was I saw a video you shared about talking about the low point you were at and the things you did to come out of it. And I know a lot of men in particular don't open up about that stuff because of the perception that, like, you're a man, you've got to be tough, you've got to be strong, you deal with that shit on your own terms, that's not anyone else's problem. But by sharing that, it kind of shines a light on that other people can then be opened and help other people, and then it creates things like this moment and to show other people. Is that something you had to work on, or is that something that you felt was easy just to put out there?
I think it was just like understanding that everyone goes through pain, and no matter, you know, what kind of family you was brought up, wealthy, you know, joyful, there's always going to be certain things that you will see as that is painful suffering, whereas other people might not. So for me, it was like, I just felt like when I was watching loads of podcasts, Tim Ferriss and loads of other things, Joe Rogan and loads of motivational videos, it kind of like, it made me feel better and made me feel meaningful to go through the pain. So I was like, oh, maybe the things I went through not necessarily are like, you know, absolutely like very, very hard and like rape or like other extreme things, but like every hardship is going to be, again, irrelevant to what is hard. What does that mean? Is that very painful to you to see, to suffer, to experience it? And going through certain hardships, I was like, oh, I might as well, how can I help other men? And I was like, oh, I might as well share it and be like, bro, if I can do it, you can do it. And it's easier said than done, but it's like Theo Von, he says, it's like nothing changes if nothing changes, you know. And I think seeing stories or seeing things that, like, when someone was in a bad place and then they kind of like somehow figured it out to change the path to more of a better place, but that doesn't mean you're not suffering. You're just using the suffering a little bit more efficiently. You know, you're using it as a fuel, as a way of, you know, I guess strengthening your character and building upon what you want to build upon. So it was kind of like, it felt like right thing to do to share it. I didn't give a fuck if people gonna like judge me or be like, oh yeah, you haven't gone through this or that. It's like, yeah, I haven't, but I have gone through this, which was, you know, it was not easy, and it kind of, I wouldn't say fucked me up, but it changed my psychology, right? So, and I was like, might as well just share it, and someone might listen to it and be like, might not say anything, but that I believe that there's certain things that might change the way they think about themselves. It might create more hope and faith in their way of dealing their suffering, and they might be like, one day it's like, fuck it, I just want to change, you know. So it was, I think, just a right thing to do.
You can be the catalyst to someone else's change.
Mm.
I think the thing there is, like you said, no one has to actually say anything, but they can feel something inside of them to make a change. And you can't actually, like you can't put it, you never know how many people you could help in some way or affect in some positive way by putting that out there. And I think the benefit for you is like, what are you, 6'4", 6'5"?
6'4", yeah.
Yeah.
So just around there.
Big dude, tattoos. Like from the outside, probably look like someone, if they didn't know you, would be kind of intimidating and scary and tough and all this. And then you come out and you go, I went through stuff that made me question.
I was a little bitch.
But like you say that, like makes
but
then like you makes people, I guess, look at you and go, oh, if this guy that looks tough from the outside can actually be vulnerable and put himself out there, and he's gone through the same struggles I'm going through, a kid that's in his room that doesn't want to get out and go to the gym or be healthy or talk to people could be like, well, I can do it then. So like you said, it gives hope to those people that there is more out there if they actually put in the effort to go and try and make that a reality. What was the series of events or things that you went through to kind of steer down that path when you weren't your best self and you weren't happy and you were in a bit of a slump?
What did I do to change?
No, what got you there in the first place?
What got you there?
And then we'll go into like how it changed.
So first few memories was like, I was going through crisis when I was like 10, very young, bro, 10, 11, 12. It was to do with my, how do I put it so I don't want to say bad things about my family, but there's moments that they did things that didn't necessarily help me. Even though the way because I was brought up from age 6 to age 16 with my grandparents. Because my mom, I never really had that. I never had that. I had a stepdad till 6, which I didn't know that was my stepdad when I turned 18. So that was a bit of like world shit, like a little bit of a shake.
Yeah, what's real?
Yeah, it was weird. It was weird when my mom told me that. But then going back to when I was like 6, so when my mom left to work, because in Latvia is not the richest, and it's not like a great place to actually, you know, make it. There's always opportunities in the places. But, so she left to make money because there's a lot of companies was bankrupting. It was like a bit chaos and not the best place to kind of like earn money and then provide to the kids as a single mom, because I went through divorce and my stepdad. So I was living with my grandparents, and so my granddad was a big drinker, and I'm talking about like probably like liter every time he was home of vodka every night. He was just downing. It was just easy. And then, because he was a lorry driver, but his dad, which I was young enough to actually meet him, granddad. So his dad was in army, alcoholic, and he was, you know, harmful to my granddad and nan, and my granddad. And it was like what my granddad went through. Like he went through. Have you heard of like David Goggins' story when he was like beaten up? So it was like similar situation with my granddad, and there was like no. It was just like this is how we make you tough.
Yeah.
You know, we punish you, and before you couldn't report to police, you could just lie. There's no camera. It was a normal thing to do in Latvia. And then my granddad he never really was given love. So what I understand now, where at that time I didn't know that. So he wasn't like necessarily beating me up, but there's situations that, you know, he scared the shit out of me, and he held me, and he, you know, pushed me. And I was like, what, 7, 8, 9, 10. And I see my, you know, family, certain woman in my family beaten down and punching and pushing and screaming every week. Every time he was home, it was like it was the same pattern. There was times where we had to literally like wake up at 1 a.m. and jump out the window, because it was like, it got so crazy that we had to run to my grandnan who was living next door. And that happened multiple times. Well, going to school, and I couldn't talk to people about it. I didn't say anyone the situation I was going through. So these kind of moments made me kind of like go through some weird questioning. It's like, why do I feel like I don't fit in here? Why do my friends' families have like a normal mom and dad? Where's my mom? Why is she not here? So there's like these things that created a certain persona, identity that made me feel like, oh, maybe I'm not good enough, or see, these little things, patterns. And then of course my mom knew what was happening. So she, you know, fast forward to 15 years of certain chaos. And my granddad was lorry driver, so he was sometimes away for 2-3 months, come back for a few weeks, again, do the same patterns, and nothing really changed till I left from my world. And there's certain things that saved me, which was basketball, to not go a bit crazy. Teammates with basketball. I do go in bad patterns of drinking at age 11 with other friends who was a bit fucked up also, because we hang around with people who are like alcoholics. There was no good role models in Latvia. And there was this little village we used to go every weekend where my grandparents lived, and there was like no more than 200-300 people living there, in like isolated around woods and forests, and you know, and seeing people do that, and you're like, oh, this looks fun, you know, drinking, fighting. So it's a bit weird looking back now. It's
but
like,
that's your norm.
Back then it was just like,
norm, yeah,
it was like, oh, who's gonna fight now, or where are we gonna, you know, all the elders was always like, they got drunk, someone said something wrong, and they just like clapped him. And we saw that. We were like, oh, it was a bit scary, because they're bigger than, we were like, what, 8, like 9, when I started drinking alcohol, 10, 11, 12, it was like, you're like scared of them. You're literally like, and they were like 16 to 18. So kind of like that was my Latvian experience, which built certain things, or it made me see certain things, other side of like joy in life. And I moved to England, and the alcoholism is like the pattern in Latvia. It's quite common in Latvia to have family members to drink. I'm not sure how it is now. Maybe hopefully it's a little bit better. But then I moved to England because my mom she let me stay there, and my sister. I have a sister also who experienced that.
Were you annoyed at her for leaving though? Was it part of you for going, or did you understand even
I
when you were young?
No, I didn't know. I only saw my mom like once a year.
That's what I mean. But as a kid, were you angry that she left, or you understand?
Yeah, I was questioning. Yeah, it was just sad, because it made me be not important. And I understand she was going to get money, but it was still like,
you want your mum?
Yeah, but because I didn't have parents, technically, like I don't have parents. I have a parent. I have a mum, and yeah, I mean, I understand now things looking back, but then it was like my mindset wasn't clear. So moving to England, a few other things, again getting into crowds of people who was fighting, who was drinking, and now like I figured out what was drugs, because I didn't know in Latvia what was drugs. I didn't even know what was weed. I didn't know what was coke. I knew what's vodka and beer, and that was kind of like what I was doing sometimes, or most weekends, every other weekend with my friends. Was
there a point when you were in that situation where you actively thought, I need to get out of here? Or was it kind of the thought of, this is what we do and this is fine because everyone's doing it?
Yeah, it was just kind of, it was fun.
Yeah.
It was more like, this was fun. I didn't see anything else, right? And when it was fun. This is what we were doing every other weekend. It was normal. When I moved to UK, then I was like, as I was getting older, you know, from 16, 17, 18, I started doing, well, I did drugs from age probably, weed was like 17, 18, got into weed quite a lot. Then I got into other substances from age probably 18 to 20, 21, 20. And then there were certain pivots in that time frame that kind of like shifted my way of appreciating my life, or wanting to appreciate my life, to have a better life. And understand, and living in England, you're like, you know, London, and there's Brighton, and there's sea, there's like so many things going on. You're like, wow, it's like Latvia is so kind of like small,
the
nothing.
whole world gets changed, hey?
Yeah. And then, yeah, there's other things happen in life regards alcohol and, you know, parenting and single mom and, you know, crazy things that just shifted my psychology. And then after I probably moved out of my mom's when I was like 18, 19. Because living in England from 16, I didn't know English. Like I couldn't speak. I was so insecure. I couldn't communicate. I couldn't get a job. I was scared to get a job. I was scared to be judged. I was just like this really small thing in this kind of like big world that you cannot quite communicate with. So like the first 6 months, because as soon as I moved to UK, 2 weeks later I had to join the school. So to start, I'm like, me and my sister was like, let's go together, let's spend time together, let's like, you know, I don't know how she felt. She was even younger, three years younger. But, and then like 6 months, I didn't really speak to anyone, I couldn't. And then I was like, okay, I actually need to try and learn English. I started reading English, I started watching English. I was watching English cartoons in Latvia with Latvian subtitles or vice versa. And then, yeah, it's just kind of like, I figured out what I want to do accidentally, and then kind of stopped doing with the drugs.
How did you find out accidentally?
My mom suggested me to do personal training. And I was 18, 19, and then I was like, oh, this is actually a good shout, because what I was thinking, I was like, okay, you get paid 40 quid an hour, so I was like, okay, if I work 8 hours a day, but I wasn't thinking like you got to get clients, you got to, you know, you got to put work in it, and I was like, oh, I'll be training a lot of hot girls. So my little me, the guy who hasn't even trained, you know,
yeah.
I only started training at the gym when I was 18, 19, just I think turned 18. But then like as soon as I qualified as a PT, 21 around, I was actually helping people who was overweight, who couldn't love themselves. And then that kind of I started appreciating my work even more, because I'm like, oh shit, you feel so happy just from, you know, getting stronger and getting stronger and losing weight, and for some it's like I want to cry because this feels so nice to be a different person, the person that they didn't love to a person that okay, I could actually accept this. And that started becoming more of a drug to me, because I'm like, okay, how can I help even more people, because that makes me feel good. Because I'd never had that, so I can give someone that I needed it when I was younger, you know? Because we were childs, no matter how old you are, there's still that maybe something was missing when they were younger, and you didn't get it. But now that you're like getting it, attention, someone's listening to you, someone's, you know, caring for you to some level, you know? Yeah, and then kind of pivot, and then it just kind of create this exponential growth.
Yeah, it's like you need to heal. It's like through healing other people, you're kind of healing yourself. Because there's obviously, I notice this, especially a lot of people that I talk to that have gone through something that is not that nice. they use other people as their kind of medicine to heal themselves, and they realize through helping others that's actually helping the wound in them that they need healing. And it's like it's like this symbiotic relationship where it's like, I help you, that helps me, and you go around in this circle, and then you kind of like, oh, that's where the growth is, that's where the healing is. It's like through other people.
And empathy.
Yeah.
You build it. It's a skill. I'm sure there's people are naturally more empathic, but like for men to have empathy, it's like, I think you got to build it. From my generation, you got to build it. It's like watching some sad films, like trying to put yourself in their shoes. And yeah, like hearing stories from my clients, you know, they're experiencing loved ones getting cancer and you know, stage 4 cancer, and they have kids, and you know, she's a lawyer, and like cheating, and you know, other diseases and other things, and job issues and friends issues, and it's like they're telling me, and I'm like, bro, this is crazy. This is really crazy.
It gives you perspective though on the things that you actually find hard in your life, and you go, oh, that's nothing. Nah. Do you feel that you play the role as almost as much as a physical trainer, like a mental trainer, like a therapist in a way?
I would say, bless you, mate.
Been holding that one.
I wouldn't say therapist. I would say just someone that holds some space of, you know, being like, okay, just tell me what I won't judge you. You know, it's more like that. Because I'm just listening, man. If they want advice, I'm like, listen, this is what I maybe would do in this position. But like, they just talk, like, I don't, and then they forget, they're like, shit, it's been 20 minutes, like, how's your day been? Yeah. It's like, and I feel, and I'm like, you haven't had anyone to speak to. And it gets like, and I see these patterns more and more and more, and I'm just thinking, I'm like, fuck, it's like, everyone feels like unheard, and you know, they want to be just heard, and just be like, okay, I want to listen to you. And they talk, and they're like talking more and more and more and more, and it's been like half an hour. We haven't even trained. We like done a few sets, and we're just talking. Well, they're talking. So like, this is just like holding space, man. It's weird. It's interesting, but it was like, it's very strange, because if they're happy, I'm happy. I was like pushing them to do things, but it's like, if they don't want to do that, I'm here to like tell them to fucking change their life if they don't want to. Like, I'm here. If you're happy, I'm happy.
Yeah, I know that skill of holding space for someone to actually say what they need to say. And it's like, what's the point of going to the gym and getting healthy if your mind's a complete mess? It's like, you need to sort that out first. You need to like calm that, and then the rest of the work can be done. But it's like, at the start of it all, you need to actually put the work in to go, I need to come here for a reason, or I need to be here for a reason. I don't need to just be, because I think some people, and I know I'm a victim of this, is sometimes I do workouts, or sometimes I do things to shut that voice off. It's like, I was thinking this actually the other day, it's like, it's hard to suffer or go through 2 different pains at once, like a physical and a mental. It's like, you can kind of focus on one at a time. So it's like, if you're doing a physical like thing where you're absolutely wrecking yourself, you're focused on the pain of like your legs or your arms, you're not really focused on the pain of your mind. And it's like, some people, I guess, use that as like an outlet to kind of distract themselves from what they actually need to feel or go through.
I just put the pain mentally, I just fucking put that pain as a fuel in the bonfire, and just make the bonfire higher, more, and I just train.
So you feel both?
I feel both. No, I wouldn't say pain. I would just feel like, because I would listen to a lot of motivational things sometimes before training or when I run. It's like keep going, like things like that, like from bits and bobs from podcasts, and I'm just like, yeah, I can do it, and I'm just dying inside. I'm like, bro, this is so hard. So no, keep doing, and you keep listening, and you're like, this helps. It kind of like that's how I see it, and that's what helps me, I guess. But everyone has different intentions and ways to deal with things, right? Yeah, man, it's interesting.
We'll get back, because you said you've obviously you started being a PT, you're in England, your life's kind of changing now. Was that the point where that's where the shift really started to happen, when you kind of started to see the effect you were having on other people? And the benefit you were actually making?
Yeah. And like, I had trauma. I mean, trauma is such a word, everyone uses the word, but I had things I had to deal with, or that changed me to who I was that moment when I was doing PTs. And there's things like not being seen when I was younger, and not having the held space from my parents. So like, I was always kind of pushed away. I was very skinny, man. Like, I was quite skinny. I wasn't the strongest guy. I was always weak, and I was always hanging around with people. I got beaten up, and you know, it was like things, it wasn't ideal scenario. So I was like always like not in people's, well, I wanted to get somehow attention from people so they see me. So it was a bit goofy and stuff. And then when I got to England, I started tattooing myself. And then 2020, when COVID happened, because in England I was smoking weed, but to the level that like it made me, because sometimes I smoked before training, meaning like literally one toke of my friends, because I never bought it. I had friends who had like good friends who kind of like supply certain things.
Just a bit of a scam.
So I was like, I went to see him, have a coffee. I just had one toke of like this pen, and I'd go and train. And it helped me train. It was not every session. It was like maybe like once every 2 weeks or something. But
do you feel like it gives you a better connection with your body?
Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
And mushrooms. Yeah. Microdosing mushrooms. That's what I've been doing in England also. And then one day in 2020, I was getting my both legs tattooed, not at the same time, but like 1 week was this leg tattooing, the other one's this. And I went to my friends, and I have a chill, just like I have a toke of a joint, and a bit like thinking about life and contemplating about stars. You know how I'm sure few people have tried this substance and this medicine, as people call it. But I'm looking at my legs, and I'm like, fuck, I can't see any skin. So I'm like, I'm asking myself, why am I doing this to myself? And then it was like, because people see you. And because I was having this conversation in my head, it was like, okay, but why do you want to be seen? So I'm thinking, I'm like, maybe because I was never seen when I was younger. And it was like, why is that important to you? It was like, because I was always pushed away, and my mom wasn't there, and my granddad didn't really see what I was good at, because I was good at computers and stuff. And it was like this kind of like realization is like, oh, the reason I'm doing this is so people notice me. And as I got my one sleeve, they saw me. They were like, oh, I like your tattoo. I had other ones. I was like, bro, this is, and it was like this weird addictive way of feeding my ego, because I know people are gonna see me. But I didn't really acknowledge that till I really, because you know there's this 4 why sequence. It's like why till you get to the root answer. And then I was like, oh, I'm too far into it to stop. So I'm just like, shit, I gotta just get tattoos more. But that was kind of like, yeah, it was like realization that like I had this trauma that the way I was overcoming or not manifesting, but like working with it is like I would just wanted to be seen, you know, and that was the thing that kind of made me stand out, and it helped in gym, in it, like what I'm doing right now, because like, you know, when I see people with tattoos, I'm very interested, I'm curious, like you have tattoos, and I'm like, why do you get these tattoos, right? It's some people just do it, some people just like to do it because of banter, but like some people have meanings. So I'm curious. So,
but like you said with the why, it's like people might not even know the reason why they've done something.
No,
that self-awareness in why you do anything. And I did this with a friend the other day who just kept saying, yeah, why? And I go, oh, I got this because of this. It's like, but why? And then people kind of, I think, almost get defensive because they think you're trying to attack them or trying to put them down or disagree with what they're doing. I'm like, I'm not. I'm trying to figure out why you've actually done this. And I don't think subconsciously you actually know why until you might have that moment where you're getting tattooed and you smoked a bit of marijuana. And
and I'm like,
fuck, why am I doing this? Because you think about everything you do has a probably deeper rooted psychology to why you're actually doing that. And it's trying to be self-aware enough to go, I'm doing this because of this.
Yeah, man.
And a lot of the time it'll come from, like past traumas, relationships, like things 100%. That you might have not know or have unpacked until someone sits there and goes, why? Yeah,
man. And sometimes I'm like, I don't want to be seen, but now I'm like, I'm getting attention. Like it's I'm tall and I know that, and I have tattoos, and it's just, you stand out. Like you know, when I see someone fully tattooed, I'm like, I will notice them straight away.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, and sometimes I'm like, like I train, I put my hat on, I like look down, I don't make any eye contacts, because like sometimes people, not in a bad way, interrupt my training when I'm like really thinking or doing things in my mind that they don't know.
People try to hit you up for a podcast.
Yeah, they're like, no, that was cool. That was through Instagram. That was different. Yeah. But yeah, I think I've lost it where we were going with this. But I was saying that I have
you being seen and the reason behind it and the subconscious behind it.
Yeah, and I was giving that to people, and I felt it. But I was dealing with it differently because I didn't have anyone to tell me how can I deal with not being seen, and why is it important to me? Why is it playing with my mind and fucking with my psychology and making me not do things? So you're becoming more and more smaller when you don't get seen. You know, you kind of like and then when you like expand and when people see you more, and then you know on Instagram things growing, and you're becoming like, you're like, oh my god, it's too much. You get overwhelmed. You know, people ask you questions and this and that, and it's not like I don't want it, but it's like it's so much to give now. So it's like, that's why I say to people, I rather slowly expand what I'm doing and grow through audience instead of like going from 10K to like 1 million, and then you're like, fuck, this is so much. Like it actually gives me anxiety sometimes dealing with too many people.
Yeah, success is a double-edged sword.
Yeah, you're like, bro, this is great.
Another level, another devil.
Yeah.
I've got a friend that I mentioned before that we did a podcast, and he's blowing up a little bit, and it comes back to how he has to view himself changes in the fact that what he says has more, I guess, meaning behind it. Who he's around has more meaning behind it. Who he lets in, the reasons why they're getting let in. Like, so back on the Gold Coast, there's another guy, and I'm friends with his ex-girlfriend, and they have stayed friends. But they've stayed friends, I think, mainly with the fact he's quite famous now, and I think it's hard to let new people into your life once you reach a certain level of like stardom, because are they coming into your life because you can help them and benefit them in some way? They like the rub. Yeah. Like if I rub against this guy, I'm going to get some of his shine, some of his fame, some of his whatever it is. And there's that point when you become, I guess, really well known that it's like, who's actually really here for me, and who do they think the real me is? Yeah, and that's something you have to navigate. So I to see what you say, it's like not being successful can be painful, but also being successful can be painful as well. And it's like how you balance that.
It's different hard. So they say it's like, it's hard to become successful, but it's also hard to be fucking poor. Yeah. And hard to be, they're both, there's no easy. It's which hard do you choose? You know,
it's like when you go out, everyone's like, I want to get drunk, and then as soon as you get drunk, I don't want this anymore.
Yeah,
it's like you need to find that fine line between just getting a little bit tipsy and fun.
Yeah, just have one glass of something. You know, like I have like sometimes glass of wine, but like I maybe have like half of it or less than half, because I just like the taste of wine, or whiskey. I like a little bit of whiskey, but it's purely because it's like the taste, and I don't do it often, and I can control myself not to do it. Whereas before it was like, as soon as I had one, you know, when I was partying 17, 18, 19, you know, drunk to get drunk. There was like, to get fucked up, to how much can we snort? How much can we drink? And it was just such a fucking toxic, weird mindset. I don't even know how I did it.
Yeah, looking back now.
Such an idiot, yeah. But and I still have people who I was hanging around with, they still do that to this day. They're just a little bit more fucked up now. So and it's like, and you're looking back and you're like,
do you remember was there a conscious moment when you realized that you saw the direction your life could go and that you wanted to jump off that train and get on a different one?
Yeah.
Do you remember that moment?
Yeah.
Where was that?
It was after Zanti, I don't know how you pronounce it, but we had a boys' holiday. There was like 6, 7 of us, and like literally we were getting drunk every day for 7 days. Like maybe we slept like 4 hours every other night. Some we didn't sleep. We doing these gas balloons. We drank. I don't think we did any drugs. Can't remember it. It was like I was 18, and then because I had like 1,200 for the 7 days holiday, and I kind of remember spending that. So what I assumed, the people who I was with, so-called best friends and friends, they were taking money from me, and then or even how drunk I was, maybe I spent it, I don't know, lost it. But then I got home, and literally from that day, I was just like, I had a worse hangover. I felt depressed because drinking every single day, like large quantities, like a liter of vodka and plus beers and shots and balloons. It just did something to my brain that was like, this is not healthy. And I got back, and then we had these group chats, and then I just slowly, I just didn't speak. I didn't say a word there. They were like, there's something wrong. Because I was dating someone at that point, so it was a good reason for me to be like, no, I'm just with my girlfriend. And then I started training a little bit, on and off. And I was like, I just, that's it. Like, I can't hang out with you. Like, it was just, these are not my new friends. And I started going to the gym a little bit on my own, and then I started meeting these men at the gym, and they were just helping me, and they were big, they were strong. And then from that day, like 18, 19, I started going to the gym, and then I slowed on and off for like 2 years, and then afterwards I met a tribe, guys who train, who are 8 years older than me. I was 20 at that time. They were like 28, 28, 27, and they were guiding me. And I'm like, oh, this feels different. This feels like they actually care. They want me to get stronger. They want me to learn. They are hanging around with me. They're inviting me to their barbecues. We're doing things together. There was no like greed. There was no like, I don't know. It was just a different dynamics from my old so-called friends. It took like 2 years to really meet different people. I was like, maybe.
So what was that time like between when you lost your old friends and before you gained your new ones?
Yeah, it was just pure work. I was still hanging out with one of the friends who wasn't that extreme, kind of like, it was still like, he was a good guy. But it was just transition, slow transition. And I just started training. And I think gym was a great place to meet people. It's like I met all my friends in the gym. It's crazy. It's like such a great environment. Again, there's different gyms.
I guess you've been put in that situation a lot from moving countries. I guess because that's hard for it is hard when you completely move your entire life from a country to another country or a friend group to another friend group. It's like there's some isolation that comes with that you have to go through before you meet the new people that you connect with.
100%. And it became normal. And like living in Bali where people come and go, I say to people, it's especially when I was dating here, having a little pause now, but like I say to people, it's people come and go. So it's hard to get attached because you don't know when they're gonna go. So it's like this self-defense mechanism. It's like, I don't want to get hurt, so I'm not gonna attach myself. But like, it's hard to build a bond with a woman, in my case, to build a foundation. I got to open up. I got to trust. But like living in Bali, you're just like, are you gonna probably leave soon? Or you just speak to them and they're like, I don't know when I'm gonna leave. But then they
the unknown, the uncertainty.
Yeah, and then you're like, I don't want to fuck with you. I don't want to, because and it's a pattern, I guess. You know, you get used to it. But yeah, like I said.
Do you think as well built into that is the relationship you had with your mum leaving?
Yeah, 100%.
It's like a girl I was seeing. Her dad. Well, she moved away with her mum and her brother when she was 5, and she probably listen to this and probably hates me talking about it, but that's going to affect how your relationship is with men or with your relationship with women, because it's like what you're raised, what you grew up with is your normal. And if your mum's left to go work and then you come to a place where women come and then they leave, your safety mechanism is like, well, I'm not going to get attached, because as soon as I get attached, you're going to leave. And then I'm going to go back to that pain, which I don't want to feel again.
Yeah.
So it's like you got to put up a wall there to stop it.
And it's you know, like when you meet someone, you kind of like, you have an intuition, there's something there. But like if you know, just do something else instead, like focus on yourself in Bali. Like that's how I say myself, it's like, you don't have to date, you're still young, and just focus on more of your training, your nutrition, education, spiritual, mental, physical health, and it's beautiful, man. I think it's I love that, and the right people will come in my life, you know, and I'm always open to it. There's no like, I'm not scared. I'm just like, what's the point, you know, if you're leaving, if you're not sure? It's like there's no point really, unless you're like, I know there's some guaranteed. But again, you got to risk it a little bit. I had an ex-girlfriend living in Washington, D.C. before COVID, and we started speaking on Instagram, and then a month later, we were speaking every single day, FaceTimes and voice notes, and then a month later, I booked the tickets to go and see her in Washington, D.C. So it was like, I don't know how she's going to be in real life. And when I went to see her, I like fell in love with her. And then it was like 8 days with her, absolute like honeymoon, as it, you know, it's going to happen, right? It's amazing. And then 2 months later, she came to London, you know, and it was an amazing time, and we kind of got together. So it was a risk I had to take. Like she was living away, so we had to work in long distance for like 10, 11 months. And then COVID happened, and then we had to kind of like break up because we couldn't, and that's such a weird feeling of not wanting to break up, but you have to. And I've never experienced that before, and that was
it's harder.
Yeah, it's so hard, man. Especially when you're like, I'm willing to go and move to America for you. It was like, oh, I will do it. And I felt it, that she was somewhat close to a woman that I would spend, you know, a majority of my life. I was happy to do that. But again, you know, it was a risk I took, and I learned a lot from it. And it was an amazing risk. Same here, you can take risks, but...
Are you still talking to this girl, or do you still like are friends with her in any way, or could you see something happening now the world's a bit more of an open place?
I don't know, bro. She's a difficult one. I mean,
there's still something there. There's still something there.
Yeah, it was because it was unfinished in a way. So I would still go and see her as a friend, but I don't know. Like, it's something that, you know, if I go to Washington D.C. again, I will drop her a message, be like, "Do you want to grab a coffee?" But there's no like planning. You know, there's no like, oh, I'm only gonna be open to her. Nah.
Yeah.
I think living in Bali, you realize. Pardon me. Living in Bali, you realize there's a lot of fish in the sea. You know, and it gets to the point that you're like, it's okay. There's more women around, so it's like it's not scarce.
Yeah.
Whereas in England, it's like a bit scarce there. You
Yeah.
kind of like, you clench onto someone very, you know, special to you. So,
I guess what you said there is like, you said it's fleeting though. It's so fleeting in Bali. Like there's an overabundance, but it's a fleeting overabundance.
Which is, again, it's a problem because there's too many options.
Yeah.
You know, if you have 100 options of meals versus 3 options of meals, you would be way, way happier to just choose 1 out of 3 instead of 1 out of 100.
Yeah.
You're like, fuck, it's fear of missing out. Same here. I'd rather, you know, you can't get, there's no perfect scenario, but rather no little than more.
I think as well with the abundance of women, this is, what happens is when you date so many different people in a place like this and just bring...
I didn't date a lot.
No, I'm not saying you, but what a lot of people do now, whether it's guys or girls, they'll date a heap of different people and they'll find a thing that they like about this guy and then that guy, and oh, he's got money, but he's fitter, but he's more in touch with his feminine side, but he lives here. And it's like they build this perfect person in their mind. And then because they've dated so many people, that perfect person, like, that doesn't exist. You've got to build something with someone. But because they've dated so broadly that they have this different idea of what they can get, and then they try and pinpoint that into one person, that person is an illusion that isn't actually going to be created by anyone you date. Obviously you can get close to it and it's working on that together, but you're never going to build that person without actually putting in the work to do it with the person. Nah.
And I think men can be selective, but I think women are way more selective. The gap, they're way narrower than men. I think men can compromise easy. And I think women can also, but what I'm seeing and spoken about from women, I think, you know, they have high expectations. I mean, men have high expectations also. Like, you know it, I know it. I don't know your dating life, I don't, you know, but, you know, I have certain things that I value very high, and there's other things I can just compromise. I'm like, this can be worked. This is not a big deal. But in dating apps, I don't think dating apps help. It would be nice if there was like not a dating app, but an app that helps you connect. Not necessarily from like sexual level, you know, dating level, but just connect. Like, I like to have female friends. I love female friends. I learn so much from them, what to do and what not to do. You know, so.
I always thought it'd be good for dating apps, before you see the person, you have a voice note, and the voice note is what you say yes or no to. And then after the voice note, then maybe you get like a bit of writing that you put in, and then the photo.
Yeah, man, it's...
Because it's like you see a photo and then that's straight away the, oh, yes or no. Which I get that is like, if you see someone that's fit and healthy, there's parts of that you're instantly attracted to, not just physically, but like you're probably determined, you're motivated, you got routine, like all these things are built into you, like how you look. But I think too often you see how someone looks and then straight away you make a judgment call.
Yeah, man. But yeah, I prefer organic, meeting up organically, cafes, at spas, or like gym, not so much. Maybe like when you see the same person, you just say hi. But like, it's so much better because you feel like, oh, she was there when I was there. So there's something speaking to me in a way, you know. It's more fun. But yeah, dating is a bit...
Because you meet the person for who they are, not as the perception of who you think they are.
Yeah, or how they want you to see.
Who they are, mask.
Yeah, same with Instagram. It's like you're only going to put things that you want others to see. And I always say to people, it's like, I want you to see, I'm putting this because I want you to see this. But that doesn't mean that, you know, like, it's like a way we can manipulate people by putting things what they see, what you want them to see. And it's a majority of the things, you know, a good photo, you know, a food and blah, 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 and this and that. And it's like, people just get so attached to like what they see. They don't think that there's other things might happen or, you know, and not be so perfect. But like, I always say, just be cautious. I'm like, I'm posting this because I want you to see this, but just be cautious, you know? Because you never know why people post what they post, you know? And it sounds a bit evil, right? Because it's a form of manipulation in a way, I guess, because you know people are going to see it and it's going to trigger them to think certain things. So it's planting seeds in their subconscious mind. And
you're marketing yourself.
Yeah, bro, like, but that's why social media is so, you cannot attach yourself to it or attach yourself to each photo. You know, how these girls look or these men look. It's like, there's so many girls edit their photos. There's so many men fake their lifts, or I don't know. I think there's a little bit more girls editing their photos.
guess there's 3 things you can hide behind. I guess it's what? Drugs, a photo, and a smile.
Yeah, man.
And people don't look deeper than that, because I know even since being over here, like there's been things that I'm obviously going through that I'm not going to post or promote on social media, but I can post a photo at the gym or at the beach, and everyone's like, oh man, you're having a great time over there. And you're like, oh, actually, like there's so much more behind that, but I'm not going to share that, because I think we don't want, like, you want to, it's a highlight reel to your life.
Yeah, people want to see perfect.
Yeah.
But then they attach to that perfect and they forget that there's other things also, you know, and
they meet you and go, wait a minute,
like,
you've got baggage?
bro.
You're broke? You've got pimples? Like all these things. I'm like, yeah, I'm human. I'm human, just like you. Like I'm the exact same.
So that's why I don't attach myself to social media. No way, it's too dangerous. He will fuck you up. If you don't know how to control it, and especially if you go in a social media with driven emotions, I want to look like this, I want to be there, why am I not like this person, why do I don't have a relationship? Bro, that's going to fuck you up. And it fucked me up, and then I had to just detach and be logical. Why do I need social media? Business. Yeah. Change people's lives, business, get bread and butter and shelter for me, and provide later in my family when I do get the opportunity to be the father figure. But
your friends?
Yeah.
Are they back?
I'm back. I know, this is my friend. We're having a little podcast here, but it's okay. Bogdan said it's okay. I didn't know you're gonna be coming here.
You are recording now?
Hi. We're gonna leave. We're gonna be done in like 15 minutes or so.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, Bogdan probably didn't say.
Friends are coming. But I know what you're saying there, and like I literally 2 days ago I saw a photo, and then straight away I started telling myself a story. And then that story gets repeated, and then the story changes, and it's like this thing that snowballs into creating something from seeing a photo which you have no real context of what that means or is from or anything, but like I've created a narrative in my head that then I ruminate in my mind and dwell on and change and make worse and then make better and then make worse again. It's like all from a photo. And then
you know when we're speaking about the cards being dealt, then you forget what cards you have, because you're like so focused on other people's these perfect cards or these perfect setups in their life that you forget that you have these decks dealt that you cannot change. But like we said before, like you can bluff to the extent that maybe you might exchange different cards, you know, and we forget where I'm going with this is we forget to focus on our deck. Like what can we do with this, with the people we're surrounded by. You know, it doesn't have to be your own one-man journey. Ask help. You know, if you have people to connect with, just be like, bro, I want to start this project. Do you have an idea? Like, what would you do from as a customer perspective? You know, and you people. I know there's certain people who don't have that, but when we said it, you can try and bluff with your deck, you know, and hope that the bluff works, and you somehow manage to change around your life. But it's a process.
So like we said as well, it's like you're either dealt, what is it, you can't have a strong character in an easy life. It's like the strong character comes with the hard life. And I guess talking about like your upbringing, where you came from, that turned you into the person you are now. And it's like everyone says, oh, I wish I had an easier life. And I'm like, but do you enjoy being the person you are right now? And I always ask people that, like, where you are in life right now, do you enjoy who you are as a person? Do you enjoy how you show up? Do you feel like you're making a difference? And if people say yes, I'm like, so why would you want to change that? Because if you go back and change how you grew up, you might not be the person you are now. You might be the person over there that you hate or dislike, or you don't see that as who you want to be.
Yeah, man.
So it's like you have to go through that.
And it's like, yeah, it's a price tag. Like, these traits are price tags, and then the price is the time, the effort, the discipline, the reflection, the struggles, the times that you're like, I don't want to do this, physically, mentally, you know, but you have to do it to break through it to the next level. And yeah, man, and sometimes people get stuck making the same move. Like, I see life as a game, as an RPG game to some extent. And I used to be a geek with games. I love games, especially RPG games. And it's like, you start the account with nothing. Some boxes, no weapons, and then you build up on your character by doing quests, by fighting monsters and bosses and so on and so forth. And it's like, if you keep failing at the boss, change the thing, like change the routine, do it a different way. And I think people get stuck doing the same, they find the same struggle, the same boss with the same thing. And it's like, okay, we need to change the way I'm doing this, you know, till I figure out that, okay, I actually finally beat this boss and I'm to the next level. I have more opportunities now, better armor, better team, better skills level. So you kind of like, you earn, there's earnings, or there's rewards after each boss you deal with. And that could be struggles and, you know, rock bottoms and financial issues, not having money, not having mental, physical health, and you got to just figure out.
Do you know who Paul Chek is?
Yeah.
He talks about like the pain teacher.
Mate, the guy is fucking genius.
Yeah, and he's like you said there, it's like the pain teacher, it's like you're just going to keep going through that same pain until it teaches you the lesson you need to learn. And it's like you just keep, okay, you do the same thing, oh, there's pain again. Oh, you do the same thing, oh, there's pain again. You go, I don't want to feel this pain. So now I'm going to actually, like you said, try and change my approach and then get through that and then go to the next level. If you could go back to your younger self and give them some advice for what you know now, what's something you would give them?
Make your life harder.
Lean into it.
Yeah, embrace it. And I mean, I'm happy, but I would be like, this is the hardship to suffer is part of it. Deal with it, make your life even harder, take more risks, and just observe and educate yourself and train, you know. There's a few things I'll give, but it's like, don't run away from hard times and suffering. Just go through it, you know. They're only going to teach you, you know, things about life, good things about life. If you know how to if you feel that you know how to deal with it, right?
I guess in the process of doing them is when you learn how to deal with them.
Yeah.
You're learning as you're falling.
But as more you've had these, it's easier to just surrender later in life and be like, I trust myself. I've been in these situations multiple times, in different ones. I know I will figure out and solve this puzzle and find this missing piece, and then I will just upgrade myself to the next struggle. So it's just like,
I think that's a good point there. It's like this whole idea that once you finish one struggle, that it's like I can relax now.
No,
it's like it's
problems always. There's always problems.
You're always climbing a mountain.
And if you solve one problem and you find another different problem, it's an opportunity to learn. It's like, why would you not want to have problems in your life? That's the best thing life can give you. It's a problem, because without problem, you cannot appreciate the good times you have in your life. It's like this, you know, without up, there's no down. Without left, there's no right. It's just like, and people kind of seem to, I don't know, do they forget or they just pretend that this is not how it is? It's just like, as many problems you can solve, the better life you're going to have, from men's perspective. I don't know how women deal with it. I don't know how, you know, this new generation deals with it, with all the AI and stuff, but like, and make it fun. It's like, what if I do this? Instead of like, what if I fuck up? You know, I mean, we have these thoughts, what if that doesn't work? But put all the focus, what if it works? It's still 50-50. Why would you give all your focus on a negative, whereas you can give all your focus on a positive? You know, but either way, you're like, you might fuck up.
I heard this thing, it's like you normally hit what you aim for.
Yeah.
You aim for the negative, you hit the negative. You aim for the positive, you hit the positive.
Yeah, man, and it's again, it's a mindset, it's a perception. People like to be lazy. People like to have a comfortable life, but it's like you got to change the perception, and the only way to do it is reconditioning, reading, doing things that you feel is hard and you suffer to the level that it's not toxic suffering, but it's a suffer just like acute stress that will develop something better, that will upgrade, that you can handle more of it, you know. And I'm not talking about chronic stress. It's just like just right amount for it to just your body, your mental state to get better at dealing with things like that.
Yeah. Take it bit by bit. Don't. I heard this thing. It kind of relates to that. It's like bite off more than you can chew, and then chew like fuck.
Yeah.
Don't bite off too much, but yeah, like just bits here and there to kind of over time increase where you're at.
Yeah.
And I think that people don't give enough credit to small wins and small improvements every day. It's like people see someone that is so far ahead of where they are, and they see all these things that they need to do to get to there. And it's like, you just need to look at the next step, the next thing, the next, when you wake up, what are you going to do? When you go to bed, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Like these little incremental steps that will increase your life in a positive way just by doing one or two things a day. I think once you see that and go, oh, it's not this massive mountain. Like a massive mountain still needs one step at a time to climb it. So just like take those first few steps and get going.
It's like Kobe says, it's like, if you look at a task, or if you look at it from the bottom to the Everest, you're like, fuck, that's a long way to walk. But when you're starting to look just from one stage to the first base, it looks way easier. And it's like you get to the base 1 and then you look at it from base 1 to base 2. I mean, it's still fucking hard, but it's like you decrease the vision, you decrease to what you're focusing on. And like you say, it's like you focus on one step at a time. It's like when I run, I don't look forwards, I actually look down. I don't want to see how far I got to run. I want to see that I am running and I'm moving forwards. And it really helps. It's weird.
I know what you mean. It's like the last 10 meters is just as important as the first 10 meters.
Yeah.
You've got to get to that first.
So, but you learn. Like you learn by listening to people and reading books and being open, not taking things in absolute. It's being open and challenge thoughts, challenge principles, challenge theories. And you know, without theory, without practice is nothing. So how can you even assume something you haven't tried? Yeah, it's another like annoying thing that people do is like, I don't like this. Why? I don't know. So you never tried running for a few days in a row or consistently for a month. You don't know how that's going to make you feel. Like, who are you to judge if you haven't even held this thing, right? Tasted it, felt it, smelled it, sensed it. So it's like, no, try it. If you burn yourself, you burn yourself. You learn from it.
Yeah, don't touch it again.
Yeah, don't touch it again.
Well, we talked about this in the cafe before we got here, and it's something that I brought up. My last guest was talking about how people hold on to anxiety and they hold on to depression and they call it theirs, and she was talking about letting it go. And I got in a bit of like an argument with several people because a lot of people came back and said, oh, it's a chemical imbalance in my brain, which that can be true, but you can also increase the chemicals like serotonin and stuff that you put into your brain through doing a number of different things, whether that be like exercise, better sleep, better connections with your family, addressing trauma. Like there's so many elements to yourself that can become better. And like you said, if people don't try those, and then I don't want to be mean, but a lot of the people commenting on the video saying like it's chemicals in my brain were quite overweight. It looked very unconnected with people. Like this is just obviously you can see the weight thing, but just from their Instagram or their TikTok or whatever, it's like they didn't seem like people that looked like very happy. But it's like you can change your life by doing these things that you know you can do. When you just blame a chemical imbalance, it's like, well, it's not my fault, it's my brain.
Yeah. And
then you kind of lose power. And I'm like, if you give that, it's like if you say it's down to that, then like, okay, the only way you think you can change is by taking like an antidepressant or something.
Perception.
Yeah. And it's like once you shift that perception and actually go, actually I can better myself by doing a load of different things, you give yourself back that power that you feel like you've lost. And it's like you said, try it.
Yeah, man.
You don't know.
And even if it's a 1% improvement, why would you not keep improving? It's like if you try something that works and stay consistent, and you're not going to change overnight. You might not even change in the next 3 months, but if you feel like there's things that it feels better a little bit by little bit each day and week, and I'm not like medical doctor and anything like that, but it's like if you feel the changes, little changes, you got to be aware of this shit. Like, and that's another skill you got to train. It's just awareness, but like you got to just try it for long enough, and if it doesn't work, try something else. And then try something else, and it might take years to 2 to 3 years to completely change things in your life, and that's what people don't want to accept, because it's going to be hard, struggling and suffering through these 3 years. It's going to be not easy, and people are like, well, you want me to suffer for 3 years just to get better? It's like, yeah, if that's mean
what's
a lot
option
to you,
2? Never get better?
Yeah, and it's like. And it's like going back to like anxiety and stuff. It's my friend said this thing, and there's actually a movie called Inside Out. Have you heard of it? It's actually very good. Anime, it's a Disney movie, but they talk about how there's emotions we have in our minds. Envy, naive, shame, anxiety, joy, anger, sadness. And I think there's 1 or 2 others. But like what the movie taught was that anxiety is an idea of a future, or it's a decision that you haven't made yet. So anxiety is a future, sadness is the past, and joy is the present. So my friend, he's actually a very, very intelligent guy who I see as a role model. He's like, every time you're anxious, you're most likely thinking about the future, and when you are present, when you're joyful, you're most likely enjoying this moment. And when you are sad, most of the time it's probably because of that past experience. And just these little things, it's like, if you're anxious about future, there's probably decisions to be made. And you're not gonna get better until you're gonna make these decisions. And sometimes, of course, there's chemical imbalances that some people have unfortunate situations. But I'm talking about just like how I see from my perception, what are these things? And there's layers, and I'm aware of it. But like, that's what helps me. It's like when I feel anxious, I'm like, why am I feeling anxious? What are decisions making me anxious? Am I unfit? Am I not confident? Am I going to change jobs or do this, or this feels nerve-wracking? And you get nervous in front of people, and again, it's a skill you can build up onto it. It's a difficult topic to talk about, because like there's so many biases and so many studies and so many chronic issues that we suffer that are super rare, that might not be explained, and we might not have the right answers. But just try, and if you really want to change, I'm sure wanting enough things will move forwards little bit by little bit.
Like you said, you gotta want it.
Yeah,
you gotta want to change.
You gotta want to change.
Yeah. So what are you scared of?
I'm scared of not giving everything I can right now. Like scared of being 80 years of age and then looking back and be like, fuck, I wish I did that. That's my biggest fear. Yeah, living my young life, or life I'm living right now, not taking risks. And I always ask myself, it's like, if I go for this job, if I go do this or go and take this risk, it's like, would my 70-year-old, would he want to do it? If the answer is yes, I'm gonna fucking do it. If the answer is like, nah, it's okay, then it doesn't matter. Because I want to look back in time and be like, fuck, I've done everything I could whilst I could. Yeah. That's my biggest fear, bro.
What's something right now that you're actively avoiding that you know you shouldn't be avoiding?
what is something I actively avoid that I shouldn't be avoiding?
Or that you like, what's something that you know maybe you should be doing, or something that is there that you just like, I'm gonna kind of put that to the side?
It's a good question. I actually don't know, man. I think I had a very profound experience with a medicine, and that medicine taught me that everything I'm doing is good, like, because I was not happy with myself and I wanted more. But I think there's things I maybe eating not so late.
Eating, your fault.
Eating not so late, and maybe yeah, I don't know, maybe I should be spending more time with my friends. Yeah, and calling my mom a little bit more often. More like things relating moments with my friends. Because like being on my own for like few years, doing things on my own, is like, you get used to it, but then you realize you can't really share anyone to what you've gone through in a way. Like, they're not gonna feel it. Whereas like if you're with your homie, you're like, we had this crazy experience, and then you go back in time, like, do you remember, you know, you can speak about it and you feel it. But whereas like if I speak to someone about something crazy that happened in my life and no one was there but me, they're like, you fucking weirdo. But I'm like, you gotta be in these moments to experience it. It's just, the words cannot describe things, sometimes what has happened. So spending more time with my friends, that would be good people. Spending time with good people, that's probably what I should be doing a little bit more, which I am.
Yeah.
Little bit by little bit. So,
yeah, so I'd say you feel probably super comfortable by yourself.
Yeah, and that's again, curse and a blessing.
Yeah.
Because you're like, it's fine, I can be on my own.
It's like the disease and the cure at the same time.
Yeah.
Finding that balance point of how much is too much and how much is not enough.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So I was talking to my brother about this the other day, and I was like, I'm like kind of craving connection, and I'm like people, but I feel so free that I can go and do whatever I want. And he's got like a little girl and a wife, and that he's just like, I just want freedom. Like, I've got so much connection. He's like, I just want freedom. I'm like, and he like loves his little girl and his wife, but he's like all the time. And it's like, grass is always somewhat greener on the other side. So it's like how you find that balance of what's enough for you. What's the most exciting thing you have in your life right now, or coming up in your life?
My future.
Wherever it may go.
Yeah, every day is exciting. Bro, I go to bed and I'm like, I can't wait for the next day. I've been like that for a long time. I'm like, I cannot wait to wake up and see what today is gonna bring. I'm fucking excited about life. I'm so excited about life. I can't even describe. It's amazing.
It's funny how that mindset and that way of thinking is the tool to provide the better life.
Dude, it's amazing. Like, I'm excited to wake up. And I think I feel alive, because I'm like, who am I gonna meet? What's gonna happen today? My training, work. I'm gonna go to this cafe, I might meet someone. The weather is amazing, I'm next to the beach, you know, and the environment helps a lot, you know. But yeah, I think I'm excited about the next day. Super excited. Now and the next day.
Love that. I've got one more question for you.
Go on.
When you're dead and gone, how do you want people to remember you?
How do I want people to remember me? Someone who brought joy. Someone who you always could laugh with. And I have this thing, so when I'm gonna be coughing, I want the coffin to be open, I want to be covered my bits, and I want all the tattoos to be exposed. And I want them to put my smile like that. And there's this one song, it's called The Jungle. No, it's by The Jungle, it's called Happy Man. And it's the most happiest song ever. And I want them to play that over and over till I get sick of it. Yeah, man, that's it. I just want him to, as soon as they remember me, I just want him to just be like, hey, he's a weird and funny guy. you know. So that's it, man.
I love that. That's cool. I think I find that talking with people, because I ask this question a lot, and a lot of people when they talk about like their funeral, like they want it to be so happy, and I'm not sure if it's like an older generation where it's quite sad. And like when I have my funeral, I want everyone to dress up as the version of they thought they knew me.
Okay,
so it's like
that's good, bro.
So
I like
that. Because I used to race mountain bikes, all the mountain bike people, they can wear mountain bike stuff. Like if I go to the gym, they can wear like whatever they think I was or who I was as a person. It's like a, you know, when you see like celebrity parties, they got to dress up as like Robin De Niro or something like that. It's like dress up as me, and everyone can come in whatever they want and just make it fun. Like celebrate the life. Yeah.
And that's, you know, like, because it's a way of new beginning, depending what is your beliefs. But I see it as a new beginning, bro. And it's part of the cycle again. It's life. It's beautiful.
Just keeps going, yeah. Appreciate it. All right, Tom. Thank you very much for that.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. It was good.
Nice,
Is there any last things you want to say before we shut it down?
I always say to people, don't be an asshole. Take risks. Laugh more and spend time with your close friends. Build memories. Take photos, take videos, so you have something to look back to, you know, and share it with people, and just be the, it's very cliche, I know, but be the version you want to be in the world, you know, like this is a ripple effect. Try and make as many ripple effects as possible. Try and make as many good snowball effects as possible. Smile at someone, help someone, comment, I like your shoes, I like your sandals, in this case in Bali, or I like your dress, but like be authentic about it. Don't just like do it because you want to, you just have to do it, but it's like do it that I actually like this.
Because you want to, yeah.
Yeah, and that's going to teach people to be open, because it's like, oh, I got a compliment. It made me feel good. And then as more they get that, they're like, oh, I feel like I want to say something to someone, right? Yeah, I think that's the message I wanna spread around.
It keeps building.
Yeah.
It's funny. I saw this. It was just on, I think it's on Instagram. There's this guy, and he would just give out little notes, and it's just saying like little affirmations, and just give them to people just on the street. So when I've been in Bali, because I've just been by myself, I just wrote just like a heap of little notes. And just go up and just give them, if I see someone sitting by themselves, I just give it to them. But then it's funny because when I walk away, I walk away, like I don't look back. It's like that whole thing, I guess. Like the other day I just gave it to a girl. I was like, she was waiting. I was on my scooter. I was like, oh, here's a note. I think they probably always think it's like a number or something like that. Like I think they're like, oh, he was trying to like hit on me or something, whether that's a good or bad thing. But then it was just like little notes saying like, you're more powerful than you know, like keep going, like you're doing great.
Do it to guys also, man.
Oh, and guys,
guys need it also, man. You know.
But just everyone, if you see someone by themselves, it's just like, you don't know what that will do. And don't do it for the reason, because I always battle with this idea. It's like doing good, but doing good and then filming it to put out there. It's like this, are you just doing it to be seen, or are you doing it because you actually want to do something good? And it's that balancing act, because I think it is a positive to help people and show that you're helping people, but then I think you need to help people when no one's looking as well, because that's important as well.
100%. People go to see it,
Yeah.
So, but again, it's a perception.
Yeah.
Some people might get jealous. They get good views from that.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like it's, because I'm like, if you're doing a kind thing and then you show the world that you're doing a kind thing, I think that's nice. But then as soon as the camera's off, you become not an asshole, but you never do anything when the cameras are off. I'm like, what's your why behind this? So interesting. Anyway, Tom, thank you for the chat.
Hey, bro.
We have to let the people, whoever was coming. Is there a few more people coming anyway?
I don't know. I don't think so. I think it should be fine.
Oh, good. No.
Sweet, bro. Thank you very much again.
Too easy.
That was nice.